And hello and welcome to Paper of the Week. And my name is Stephen Eddy and I'll be your host for Paper of the Week. Matt Legg does this and we swap it and we interchange it and we all get a fight over who can do it because it's quite a fun thing to do because what we do is for those who are new to this, is we may be preparing for a podcast or something or researching just an article of interest and we come across a paper that really needs to be highlighted, and that's what Paper of the Week is. Now today's is a review article. Now what a review article is, just for those who don't know, is that a group of experts have got together, in this case two authors, and they've reviewed the scientific papers on one particular topic. So that's why I like to look at review articles, because they're more than just one study. They're a group of many studies. Now this review paper, I'll give you some weird stats, is written from 209 scientific studies. So this is a culmination of 209 studies. So it's actually 209 studies in one. It's quite fat, these things, but they're very good to read on a particular topic. Now this topic, the title of this review article is called Modulation of Metabolic Detoxification Pathways Using Foods and Food-Derived Components, a scientific review with clinical application. So what the paper is saying is that you can modulate or change, upregulate and downregulate. That's what modulation means in science. It means you increase and decrease pathways for detoxification. Now that sounds weird because a lot of you might be saying, well, why would you want to reduce detoxification? And the good thing about reducing detoxification is we can regulate it, because there are essentially two aspects to our detoxification pathways, and they both work to essentially make the toxin water soluble so it can be excreted through the bowels or the kidneys. This is what the whole process is. So what it does is it gets the fat soluble toxin that's lingering in the body, it chemically attacks it and oxidizes it, which turns it into a toxic intermediate. But don't worry, an amino acid and something can conjugate to it, and as you can imagine, amino acids are water soluble, so they can be excreted in the urine or the feces. And as you know, you take your branched chain amino acids, put them in water, for example, they dissolve. Put taurine in water, it dissolves. Taurine's found in energy drinks, all sorts of things. So it water solubilizes the toxins. Now, the other thing we need to do is get the enzymes that do this upregulated as well. So we need three aspects. Phase 1 detoxification, which is typically the cytochrome enzymes, and there's about 50,000 of those. Like cytochrome P450-3A4 is one that's used to detoxify most drugs. So you've got the cytochromes, and then you've got the conjugation, which is the sticking of the amino acids on there, and then you've got the enzymes that upregulate that. And foods actually change the enzymes, and that's what this paper is all about. So what this paper goes through, and it goes through all the different foods that upregulate and downregulate the cytochrome P450 enzymes. And we want to downregulate the P450 enzymes because if they're too high, it oxidizes too many toxins and you can become very sick. So you need to downregulate some of the phase 1's enzymes. An example of that would be broccoli. If you eat 500 grams of broccoli, you downregulate the cytochrome P452 enzymes. And that can be useful because broccoli is a great detoxifier because it also upregulates the phase 2 enzymes, the amino acids. So this is really great to regulate detoxification. There's a whole lot of herbs that do that. Now we did a podcast on this, so I won't go into every single thing, but I want to give you an example of what we want to do and what we used to do. In the past, as a naturopath, when I practiced in the 90s, we would put people on a water fast or a juice fast and make them very sick. And you might think, why did you do that, Steve? And we said, well, it's called a healing crisis. And it used to make people violently ill. And that was basically when we had too much of phase 1 and not enough of phase 2, because as I said, the amino acids need to conjugate to phase 2 and we'd take them off all proteins. Now, if you look at protein powders, detoxification powders, they're based on protein to help you detoxify. And that's what proteins do. They help you detoxify some of the toxins. So in the olden days, we think, oh, well, protein's toxic, it's burdens or whatever this. But now we know that the amino acids that make up proteins are required to detoxify. And I'm talking about taurine, cysteine, glycine, glutamine. All these sorts of amino acids are required for detoxification. So it's quite a complex paper, and it talks about foods that regulate that. Now, the foods that regulate the phase 1 and phase 2 enzymes are ones that you're very familiar with. I'll list off a few here. Rooibos tea, garlic, fish oil, garlic. Again, another study, cruciferous vegetables, turmeric, and green tea, black tea, quercetin, grapefruit, resveratrol, garden cress, soybean, kale. All these healthy foods, they're healthy for your body, but they're also good for detoxification. Now, we do have an opposing view here that there are dietitians that say that no, you just eat a good diet and your body will detoxify everything. And you hear people saying, for example, that the liver and kidneys detoxify anyway, and it's doing it all the time, and that's absolutely true. But what we're doing is we're providing the nutrients that drives this process and providing the nutrients that makes this process happen. So almost every vitamin and minerals involved in detoxification, certainly amino acids are, certainly vitamins are, fats are very good for detoxification because you need the bile to be excreted from the liver. So basically we're talking about a very, very healthy diet full of these particular great vegetables, fruits and vegetables. And what we want to do is make your detoxification process an everyday event. All right, just don't get toxic in the first place, we know that, but we live in an environment where we're exposed to toxins all day. So what we're saying, and what this paper is saying, is that use these foods every day, as many as you can, the rooibos teas, the allergic acid from berries, I'm reading more, turmeric, astaxanthin, which is the colouring things, green tea again, purple sweet potatoes are great. Oh, I love purple sweet potato. So all these things are fantastic detoxifiers, ghee, clarified butter. All these things are very, very good for detoxification, and you need to include these in your diet every day to keep your detoxification going and to also reduce your toxic burden. But I don't want to, teach you how to suck eggs, as they say. So this is an excellent paper, and we're going to publish this up on our website. So I urge you to read it if you want to know how to use functional foods to detoxify your body. So thank you very much for that, and I'll see you next week.